Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the
Conversations that matter. Show
episode 16.
16.
Ta-da-pa-da-pa-pum.
Pom 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 pom.
We're going
This is
stronger.
Trotis. And with me I have
Cool. Me?
Yannis. Exactly.
Yannis. GG.
We need to find an intro, I think, to this thing.
And the music like
Yeah, like a silly music from an 80s soap opera, with saxophone and drums and stuff like that.
Chiquititas music.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
I
then
think
we
this
should
will attract.
also get a background noise from the audience, like when they clap when we say a stupid joke, like.
I can do that. Like, okay, let's try. Say something smart. Like, say a quote.
Oh fuck, I don't know. I only can think of racist jokes at the moment. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We got it.
Cool. Anyway, how was your week?
Week, day, life. So
Whatever.
since the last time we met, I'm actually 1 year older, right? Because it was my birthday.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So any realizations that I had in that day, they didn't really stuck with me, I guess. However, there were a lot of people that pointed out the fact that I was turning 25, and it's like they made it like sound it was a big deal, right?
No.
So
Okay.
yeah. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel exactly the same as I felt before, so I don't know really. I think that it's something that I also wrote on my blog like yesterday. It's about, I think, where you focus your energy, your mental energy, right? Because I think that if you focus on like what you have and right now and give 100% of your focus on the task at hand, then like there's absolutely 0% chance that like anything can go wrong in the present moment. And when you do that, it's really hard to think of the future or of the past at all, to be honest, And I really want to read a quote from you, for you, from Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
You got me here.
All right.
I'm all ears.
And it's on the topic of focusing on the present moment. All right. So it goes like this. Were you to live 3,000 years, or even a countless multiple of that, keep in mind that no one ever loses a life other than the one they are living, and no one ever lives a life other than the one they are losing. The longest and the shortest life, then, amount to the same, for the present moment lasts the same for all, and is all anyone possesses. No one can lose either the past or the future, for how can someone be deprived of what's not theirs? So this is it. It's like, why should you worry at all about something that's not yours to command, to control, right? And I think this applies whether you're 25, 55, 95, 155, it's the same. Like, you only have one thing in your possession that is the present moment and only just your reaction to it, So this is your only guide.
Marcus, yeah. Marcus Aurelius, man. Like, I love this. Is this from Meditations, the book?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Which book? Which which book?
It was. I found it
Do
on
you
the
remember?
Daily Stoic Journal, but it said it was from meditations. Second chapter.
Yeah, because it reminds me of something, and I was like,
Yeah, meditations. It was second chapter, 14th paragraph.
okay, okay.
For those that want to do the research, I don't know, like how many of you guys listen to read Marcus Aurelius or anything like that, but
But start
there you
doing it.
but start doing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you something like it's a somewhat of a personal question, but I think that you can answer it.
Ouch. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like something that came to my mind this morning. Um, what are like the top three things that make you feel angry?
that make me feel angry.
Angry, specifically angry, right? Not just negative emotion, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
angry, like you want to punch someone or like you want to scream out of your lungs.
All right, I have them ready
All right.
because I've done some like contemplation, if that's a word. I'm not quite sure.
Uh-huh.
Like some, I studied myself a lot during Christmas, so I would say definitely the first of all is disrespect. When someone is disrespectful for me, like in me, I'm getting super angry because different things happen to my young life. But like disrespect is like can make me like want to punch someone. I would say it's what's the word now? Not being punctual, like saying to do something and not doing it. Like not in terms of you have this task and you didn't do it,
Mhm.
but for example, when someone tells me that, oh, bro, we're going to go there, and I'll let you know soon, and they never let me know. This again makes me angry. Maybe because I also consider it disrespectful.
Yeah. Okay.
And the third one I would say is I cannot find anything else than those two. Like these are the big ones. Like especially disrespect.
Okay. So it's like when someone is not acknowledging your like you as an individual, like
Yeah, but
something like
not in
that.
terms of ego. Like, oh, who are you that you think that you can treat to me like that? It's not that. I don't really care about other people's opinion. My problem is that when someone doesn't respect the fact that I'm a human being as well, and
Hmm.
I'm a person that deserves, like everyone deserves, proper communication, proper,
Yeah.
taking
Uh,
care of me and stuff like that. Like I'm literally angry right now with because I'm racing through those thoughts in my mind. But yeah, like I'm a human being, mate. Like respect me for who I am, because I want to respect you as well. And the same goes with relationships, with friendships, with business, with work, with everything. Like for me, that's the biggest one. That's the base of the pyramid. Like be
okay.
respectful.
Do you believe like as honest as you can be with yourself, right?
Yeah,
That you are respectful like you would want people to respect you?
I wasn't, but right now I am.
You weren't until when and in what respect? In what fashion?
For example, I wasn't not really like We have to go deep, but then who cares? For example, with my relationships,
Mhm.
I was expecting them to treat me in a way that I wasn't ready to treat them as well. But there was like a shift that happened to me during 2017 that made me understand that, dude, like that's super important. Like you have to be 100% respectful towards them. So that was like the thing that when I changed everything. So yeah, I don't think
Mm.
that I was like very, disrespectful with them and I wasn't caring too much about them, but I wasn't really ready to communicate and go deeper in the relationship. Same goes with friendships. Like I had a lot of friendships that were very um, not so deep and not so real,
Mhm.
and we were just friends, but more in the terms of, oh, we're chilling and we go to play FIFA and we go to the club and we drink a drink and that's all. There was no real connection there. There was not no real intimacy, no real um, human interaction.
Mhm.
And the moment I was able to change this in myself, I was able to, receive it from other people.
All right. So like what I'm getting out of it is like what you started naming as disrespect. It's actually something like lack of honesty, right? Because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't like the fact that people were not honest with you.
Honesty and most importantly as well, integrity. Like as I wrote on the Facebook on my Facebook page on the daily
Hmm.
quote,
Hmm.
uh, thoughts, words, and action. I want them to be aligned. Like maybe that's the one, the first thing. I want when someone says something,
Hmm.
this to be the same with the thing that he thinks and the thing that he's gonna act upon. Don't tell me you're gonna be here at 8 if you're not planning to come. Don't tell me you're gonna be here at 8 if you're gonna come at 9. Don't tell me that you're thinking of me if you are not. Don't tell me that, oh dude, I miss you, we should hang out, if you're not gonna be willing to grab a drink. That's the thing. Like, don't tell me, dude, I'm gonna do this work for you and then hang me and never do this work. Like, that's who I am, and I want to be as much aligned as possible. And that's basically what I ask from people too. And I think that when two people are able to have their thoughts, words, and actions aligned and totally aligned in themselves, then they are able to co-align those aligned lines into something
Hmm.
bigger, into a road, into as a highway. Because if you're not alright with yourself, if you don't have integrity, how are you expecting to find integrity in other people?
All right. So have you found that from the moment that you decided like to try to be a person of higher integrity and of more honesty, that like less honest people and less honest behaviors started making you more or less angry? Like the fact that you became quote unquote like more
There,
truthful,
there
did
are
it
no
make you more or less angry about when other people weren't?
That did not really affect me because like I cut them out, like they're outside of my radar.
Uh-huh.
Like for me, because I know who I am and I know what I'm expecting from the people that I really want in my life, like in terms of romance, business, and stuff like that. I make sure that I will surround myself with people that I feel that. If I don't feel that, I'm not gonna pretend or practice with them. I prefer like to do a solo career. I prefer to have no friends. I
Hmm.
prefer to be single than being with someone who will not like satisfy my needs of communication. And the same goes with me, right? If I feel that I cannot offer that to the other person, I'm gonna leave as well, because it's not sincere in my part pretending to be someone that I'm not.
All right.
Sincerity, integrity, authenticity, say it however you want. But I think these are like some really important principles to me, and that's how I want to lead my life at this specific moment anyway.
All right. So when this doesn't happen, then you get angry.
No, I'm not getting angry. I just leave.
All right. So
It's been a while that I've been
you don't
angry.
think it's like something that's worth talking about with the other person, or it's like something like
No, of course.
you put some sort of a label. Not that's a good or a bad thing necessarily, but you label them as like insincere or like prone to lying or prone to not telling the whole truth, right?
Not exactly as labeling. Like, I will discuss this with those people. Like, yeah, mate, like these things, the thing that you did, like, made me feel like that. And that's a behavior that, I don't really like. I don't really enjoy it. What's up? What's up with your mind? Explain me so I can understand you. I can feel you. I can know what's up in your mind. And if I try 1, 2, 3 times and this doesn't work, then people cannot change like that easily, at least, or maybe they cannot change at all. But yeah, I'm not gonna put a label from the beginning, but exactly because I'm expecting those things from other people, if I see that there is a like disalignment in those core values, I'm gonna call that out. Like, what's up? Like, why are you behaving like that, bro? Like, are you right? Do you have a problem with your family? Do you have a problem with your job? Do you have a problem with me? Tell me what's up so I can help you to solve it, or we can solve it together. This is an unsolvable problem, then okay, it is what it is. I have to move on. But always, I won't judge the people way too fast. I won't put a label, but I will try to resolve it. But if that's a problem that is not resolved, it cannot be resolved, then eventually, like, there's no other way than me moving on, because it's all about, my life is my life. My mistakes are my mistakes. My wins are my wins. My losses are my losses. And because I really respect myself as a person, I want to give him the best. And if I see that someone will try to throw me down or will try to, not help me when I need him, he's not like a real person. Like, I want reality, I want honesty, I want integrity. I want like a co-host in my podcast as you, that we have those philosophical, discussions every day, every day, every day, every day, right? Even if we don't have a podcast. I want, people that will understand me, support me, love me for who I am and my insecurities and my problems, because fuck yeah, I'm not perfect at all. Like, definitely not. I'm working on myself, but life is short to spend in it with people that cannot see your worth. And even if it's painful, you have to move on. Otherwise, you will, like, if you are inside a toxic relationship, friendship, whatever, you will become intoxicated, and eventually you will, like, you will die, quote unquote, of course.
Mm.
And my story. I've been there personally, like, literally. I've went through these things, and I had to quit my friends. We were together since 12 years old. I did it. It wasn't easy, but it was the best decision I ever made, because after that point, quite literally, my whole life changed. I found new friends that were like-minded. I was able to connect with them more properly. I was able to move on in my life. So, like, it's all about finding the people that you will link better. Don't spend your valuable moments, seconds, minutes, hours of your life with people that will not appreciate you for who you are and what you want and what you deserve. Because we all deserve the best. And if we do not surround ourselves with the right people, we're in deep shit. And it's the other quote that I like a lot. You're the CEO of your own life. If you are a CEO in a company and someone is not doing the work he's supposed to be doing, or he's not offering you the things that he has to in order for the company to go forward, you have to fire him. If someone is doing all the things that he needs to do and helps the company to grow, you have to give him a better position and a better salary. The same goes with our relationships. If we are with someone that, is not helping your company, your life, your personality to grow, dude, you have to fire him.
I want to ask you something on that.
Sure.
Do you believe that people change? Or that they can change?
Elaborate a little bit more. Like, on what terms? And how do you define change? Is it change someone who is not social to become social and confident, or is it change someone who likes to manipulate people suddenly to become a giver of value? Like,
Let's say, for example, in the case before, like you said about like a specific friend that wasn't honest with you, and you had the conversation 1, 2, 3 times, but like it didn't seem to go anywhere. So it's like, yeah, so he's not going to change. Let's say a person that is like a little bit of a liar, he is manipulative or something like that. Let's say, for example.
yeah.
Do you believe like that there is a method, or like, or not just a method, like a change of situation, a change of mindset, a change of environment, anything that
I would say that
will
it
make
is
that
possible.
person change, like genuinely change?
Yeah, I would say that it is possible, but under certain circumstances, like the number one would be someone to understand and to be aware that of, like, he has a problem, or he's doing some mistakes in his life. That's the one way of someone to change. Like, let's say I'm super antisocial, and at some point in my life I understand that I really am this guy, and this will give me bad feelings, bad emotions, and bad things into my life. Therefore, by understanding that, I'm putting myself into a perspective of an outsider, and I see everything that happens and what will happen in the future, and therefore I create leverage for me to change. That would be the first thing. Another one, huge, like maybe even more big than the first one, would be drama. Some psychological drama happened to your life, like an accident, like something that can literally like follow you in your whole life. We know all those stories, and unfortunately they are very sad. But people that lost their child, people that are going through terminal illnesses, and those people change, like, from being completely ungrateful and from being people that were like mad and angry with everyone, just because they go through those problems, those hard times, those obstacles become the way in the end.
Okay, so but let's stick to something more like something more general. So let's say that you're not going through terminal illness,
All right.
right? Or you had
No
like
problem.
a near death experience, an accident, something like that.
Okay.
You're just like, some regular average Joe, right? Some
Yeah.
everyday normal guy.
All right.
All right. Can this person change?
without being a psychologist, obviously,
Yeah, of course, yeah. In your experience, in your opinion, anything.
I would say it depends on the personality as well, on the DNA. So what do I mean by that? If I think that all people we are meant to do something big, but not all of us have the personality traits to like interpret something bad as a lesson, or to interpret um, a bad experience as a blessing, or we don't all of us understand that if I follow this method, quote unquote method, I will reach my goal. For example, there are people that know that what they do is wrong, but they don't have the willpower, they don't have the self-esteem, the confidence to go chase something better, just because it's not written on their DNA. And self-esteem is something that is like created from our childhood, from the child years, from how our parents how our parents treated us. Like if we received a lot of love when we were younger, yeah, fuck yeah, we'll have a great self-esteem. If we didn't, then for us everything is like, it is like everything sucks. So I would say it depends on the personality and your DNA. But I believe that people can change, or at least I want to believe that, because I believe in people. And fucking hell, we have what it takes to create magic. What's your opinion on that?
I I genuinely believe that, except a very small percentage, and except special cases like you said before, like traumatic experiences, that people don't change. And it's not because I am not a believer in people. I am just a bigger believer, let's say, in science. I don't know how to say it, in logic, or I believe more in logic than in emotion, I guess. And because it's like personality, what psychologists call personality, it's extremely stable over your lifetime, especially after you go through childhood, right? And personality traits are the number one indicators for success um in any area. And it's something that you can work towards improving, but it's something that like you can never change, and it has a high maintenance cost, and it's really rare for people to go through the process of investing so much of their energy to improve like a specific personality trait, let's say extraversion or like conscientiousness or something like that, which makes it inevitably very, very, very hard to change. I believe that what people actually do is that either they become more of themselves or they become less of themselves over time, which means that when you become more of yourself, your positive characteristics grow with you as well as your negative. But when you become less of yourself, then what happens is that there is a convergence between your good and your bad self, which makes you look actually like a soup or something like that, like a chaotic mess, which is actually the definition of like a mess. It's like a chaos. There is a mix of every trait in you, and in that way nothing stands out. But I believe that when you improve at something, there is always a price to pay, and this creates,
Yeah.
it's like, let's say that I am extremely introverted, okay? So I genuinely believe that my life would be better if I was more extroverted. Okay, so that's my hypothesis. And like my action plan is to become more extroverted by going out more and talking to more people and like arranging more coffees and coffee dates and dinner meetings and stuff like that, right? The price I immediately pay is my introversion. So like the more I sacrifice right now to become something else in the future, you know, it's the same exactly thing about thinking of the future in terms of like work, right? You trade your time now to get more like resources later. That's what you do when you work, which is like it's a good deal up to a point, and it depends on the circumstances, right? But you know, for example, that um, if we like if you had the option, like probably like a lot of people wouldn't work out of necessity. They would spend like some time doing that or this or that, right? And then
Yeah.
after that, they would have like leisure time to like listen to the birds singing and watch the sky. And I think that that's natural. And but like yeah, my point is that I don't believe that people change. I know it's like very dogmatic and very hard, but I really don't believe that they can change. They can become more of themselves or less of themselves. And I found that people tend to become more of themselves when when they are put against danger and against adversity. But the bigger their light becomes, the bigger the shadow becomes as well. And I think that this is something that we've all seen in society, in very successful figures of all sorts, right? Is that there are these moments where you see a glimpse of their shadow, like a scandal or something like that, regarding something that they did that was like really 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 bad. Okay, and it hits us like a surprise, but I think this is what actually happens. Is like the more you sacrifice to be to increase like your light essence, like the more your shadow also grows in a way. And this is why I don't believe that they change. They become more extreme towards the edges, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I cannot say like you are right, I am wrong, I am right, you are wrong. Like it is what it is. Like
Yeah,
let's
it's a
suppose
matter of
we agree.
perspective. Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a matter of perspective. Yeah. Because like in my life, I lived through those changes. So if I can change, then you can change. Then the dog can change. Maybe not. Like anyone can change. But maybe you have seen some different things in the people around you. So
Do you know
yeah.
what I think? What the problem is? It's like we think of change in a different way. For example, I think that you've changed so much, like 180-degree turn. All right. I have changed also so much. I know a lot of people that have changed over time so much, right? But for example, when I think of myself 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't see that much of a different person, right? And for example, when I think of you 15 years ago, it's obvious that you've changed towards a better person. But I think that in your core, it's like there is zero change. I think you are still the Yannis I always knew in a way, right? And I mean that in a way that some of your actions are very predictable, some of your mannerisms are very predictable and like very familiar to me.
Yeah.
right? Your way of thinking is exactly the same as before. It just got more complicated, and it's like it has a different orientation, but it's exactly the same, right? And I think exactly the same way as I thought like 15 years ago. So this is what I mean, right? It's like you change some of your behaviors, you change like where you direct your energy, which is like a big deal, of course, because this means that you have values, you have goals, but like fundamentally, you are the same person.
Uh, um, yeah. Okay. Well,
Actually, sorry. Um, I wanted
yeah.
to say that this can also be very, very, very obvious, like how little people change uh, when you watch them interact with their parents. I think this is one of the greatest indicator of change, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I will keep for sure, and maybe that's our. Maybe we're saying the same thing, but with different words. Like maybe it's not that the people change; is that through the experiences, through the lessons, through the pain, through the happiness, through the love, through all those things, those people have the opportunity to release the real inner self at some point. And that for me might be called change, but for you is like, no, it's not change, it's who she was either way. So
All right.
in those terms, I think we both agree and we're both
Oh,
saying the
yeah, yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is what I meant by becoming more of yourself or less of yourself. It's like having
Yeah.
a, yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
how do we say it? Having a marble that, you are the sculptor of your own marble, so you just
Yeah.
have to remove all the shit and all the stupid conditioning and stuff like that, and you become yourself more. Yeah, that's what we mean. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think we fucking found it, bro.
Yeah,
Let's,
yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. But it's like it's one of the biggest, I think, ever lies that people say to you and like try to sell you shit. It's like that you can change the like the color of your marble, like from a light gray to a dark gray, or that it's like they try to sell you that you can be things that you clearly cannot be, and you can do things that you clearly can't do, or it's like it would be highly, highly, highly improbable to do, right? And like what could be the chances that you became like a basketball player?
zero.
And like somebody could actually brainwash you into believing that you could be a basketball player, and you can spend your entire life believing that you could be a basketball player, and you would be a walking mistake in a way, a walking failure every time, because you would not play with with what you had, essentially.
Yeah. Maybe that goes into γνώθησε αυτόν, self-awareness, right? Know thyself.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
who you really truly are. Like there's no way you can lose your way, because you have a very clear path and you just follow in the compass of your heart, of your soul, of your mind. It doesn't matter where this compass really is, but the moment you know yourself, then is the moment when you can start releasing the inner awesomeness you already have, because you already are perfect. Like people believe that life coaches, motivational speakers, coaches in general help people because those people are broken. Those people are a mistake. But no one is a mistake. No one is broken. Everyone is already quote unquote perfect. And the only thing that these people have to do is to realize who they are, what they're good at, and just take the action needed to go towards that road. And if they do, I'm certain, like 99.99999% that nothing and nobody can stop them.
Yeah, most
As long
probably.
as you follow your real self.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have like, I know this is a difficult question. Do you have any exercises for someone to become more self-aware?
Uh, as a matter of fact, I had done a workshop here in Manchester about, um, it was about communication, but the last chapter, the fourth day of the workshop was about um, self-awareness, self-esteem, and self-confidence. And basically would be the whole idea behind finding how to become more self-aware is, number one, ask people around you, ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your dog, what am I good at? Am I good in who am I? Who was I? Like, that's a really good question to ask your parents. When I did, like, many things were revealed into me. Like, I was like, Dad, Mom, why was I like that in school? How was I in school? And when they explained to me, and it was like a really interesting and deep conversation to have. So I would say the first thing you have to do is ask yourself, then ask people around you. And if you see a pattern, if you see some things repeatedly be appearing to appear, I'm sorry, then it means that, okay, maybe that's something I am as well. You dig a little bit more on that, and then you find if it's true or not. But most certainly, when you have your parents and your best friend say the same thing in different words, this means something about you. Means that maybe you have this on your subconscious, maybe you never realized it, or you didn't want to realize it, but it is there. Like, a common one for me was that, I was never to the people around me what I was really thinking and what I was really feeling. And when I went through a like self-discovery journey, like 10 people almost told me the same story again and again and again with different words. And I was like, fuck, damn. Like, is that true about me? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, it's true. Then you try to find the like why this thing happened to you. And when you find the trigger, you start working on that. Like, okay, it's time for me to become more expressive. It's time for me to become more grateful. It's time for me to stop hiding behind my finger, stop telling things that are not real to myself above all. So I would say that's the whole procedure. Ask yourself, ask the people around you, and when you see a repetitive pattern, go deep into that, find the trigger, and after finding the trigger, you have to try to resolve it. It's something bad, okay? If it's something good, accept it and go full in that.
Yeah, I agree. It comes down to one of my favorite pastimes, which is asking questions. And it's like you have to ask the fucking questions if you want to get the fucking answer. Every there is no, like, you cannot expect the answer to fly down from the heavens and enter your mind and your soul without asking the question. And this is actually, by the way, what separates us from animals, by the way. I don't know if you've heard about Coco the gorilla. She was actually she was taught to speak sign language,
Ooh,
right?
really?
Yeah, and she could speak sign language for over, I think she's still alive, by the way, for over 15 years, something like that. All right, like a mature gorilla, a grown-up gorilla. Uh, which, by the way, the gorilla is the most similar as a species than any other species on this planet, like similar to us. So in all the years that this gorilla actually knows how to talk, because she could talk, she could communicate with a human being, she never, ever has asked a question. Right? She never has asked a question, even though she knows what it's like to answer a question. Like the zookeeper, the, I don't know how to call it, her master, I don't know. They could say like, Coco, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Like, Coco, how do you feel about climate change? Like, there's a video about where the gorilla talks about how sad she feels about climate change. Like, that's on YouTube, and all these kind of things. Like, she can express herself, but she has never asked a question. I think this is one of the most unbelievable things that I don't know. It's like we are the only entities like with the ability to ask questions, and when you don't ask your questions, you are less of a human being in a way, and especially when you don't ask the questions about yourself. Like, if you don't consciously show that you are self-conscious, which is the first and prime characteristic of a human being, is that we are self-conscious. Animals don't have that in general. Is that, you have to ask your questions.
And as you know, there's this quote that says it's not about the answer, it's about the better questions. The more you want to find yourself, the more you want to reveal the secret shades hidden inside your personality, the more questions you have to ask yourself, and the better question you have to ask yourself. Because let's be real, like, you don't enjoy the destination as much as the journey. So by asking those questions, I believe you things about yourself that can really have a great impact into your life.
Exactly. Did you know the story about the gorilla?
No.
Yeah, it's so true. It's actually true, by the way. I didn't make it up. Yeah. All right. I think we should wrap it up because it's 8 o'clock here.
Yeah, before we do, let me really quickly say a comment from Alex, who says that to change this way of thinking, you have to risk and prove yourself what you are able to do, which is a really interesting idea.
That's so true, what you said, Alex, because if you can't prove that you've changed, then there is no change, right? I cannot prove to you that I am better at, I don't know, playing basketball if I don't show you that I can score more points, right? So this is so true, because let's keep it on for like 5 minutes more, because like so many of us like go into this mode of like mental masturbation in a way, that we think of change and then we think that we have become change, and in a way that like we get inspiration, we get information from external like sources, and like when we think that automatically, oh, all right, I've changed, that's it, so no work needs to be done, right? It's something that I did once, and it's I have it with me forever. But that's so wrong. Like unless you can prove it, like in action, in practice, that you've changed, then there is no change. Don't fool yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not about proving to other people. That's the most important. Most of the people try to prove something to their friends and family. Oh, look, I'm better than you. Oh, I can make more money than you. Oh, this, oh, that. No, mate, it's not about proving to other people. It's, as you said, proving to yourself above everyone that, you know what, I am capable. I'm a star. I'm a rock star. I can make it happen, I will make it happen, and nobody will ever stop me. And the moment you start taking action and you gather more and more and more and more reference experiences, then it's just, matter of momentum, because there is like this thing that Tony Robbins says about what is a belief. Basically, he symbolized a belief by a table. A table has 3, 4, 5, let's say, legs.
Mhm.
Those legs represent the reference experiences you have. So if you start putting more positive reference experiences on your table, like the more stable this table will be. Whereas if you start like gathering less and less and less reference experiences, the less powerful this belief is. So it's all about gathering reference experiences to show to yourself, to prove to yourself that you are a human being and you can make everything happen.
I disagree on something that you said, which is
All
I
right.
think one of our fundamental differences. I believe that you should prove it to other people, actually,
All right.
and
In
in a
what
way
way?
that in a way that you should be able to prove it to other people as like an extra as an extra step of the whole process, right? But that doesn't mean that you should draw any other emotion from proving it to other people. So what I mean is that when people put you down, all right, and when you feel like what we call their breath on your neck, it's like there is the pressure, there is the adversity, there is the hunt or be hunted, anything like that you put yourself through. It's like you need to prove it to them, right? So when people tell you that, no, Yannis, you cannot do that because XYZ, then you have to prove it to them that you can do it. Okay? But that should not make you dependent on whether they approve you or not anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because they could still be disbelievers. You could make it and they could still hate you. But you have to let them know, look, I fucking made it, and you had no idea, and you can suck my lollipop. you know
Yeah.
exactly that. And I think the reason I say that is because we are social creatures by nature, right? I think it's a mistake to hide our extreme social nature, our hyper social nature, uh, and like fool ourselves into believing that we don't care about other people's opinions, right? I think the healthy approach, like for me at least, I don't know, health is very subjective, but I think that for me the healthy approach is to say that I care so much about your opinion, but I also care so much about my own opinion, and this is like where you find like a balance in between, because you can take feedback, you can take motivation from other people, and you can also listen to yourself.
I agree with that. The thing that I say is do not to make basically other people's opinion your drive. Like I want to make $1 million because I will show to my friends that I'm better than them. I want to get in a relationship because I want to get revenge from my ex. So, of course, do things so you can help other people, influence other people. Like that's one of the things that drives me, and I think drives you as well, right? On your blog and on my videos as well, is we want to, try to help as much as it's possible from our ideas and insights and share those with the people around us so we can influence a little bit more positive in those dark moments we're living too. right now. Therefore, we do care. I do care about people, but not in terms of letting them dictate to me who am I and what I have to do in order to make them to be successful and happy and blah blah blah. No, I want to help people, but I want to help myself. Therefore, I consider other people's opinion. I care about other people's opinion, but I will never ever let anyone to persuade me that you have to do this because this will is important to me like that.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway, I have a question for you, mate.
All
Because
right.
last time we ended the podcast, and now it's my turn to begin this question. For those that weren't here the last time, from now on, we start a game with Stratis, and the end of podcast will end by us answering one question. Therefore, Stratis, if today was your last podcast, what would you want to share with the world?
All right. I would invite everyone to write that love letter that they never wrote to that special person that they love, and probably maybe they didn't love them back, or they are still in love. But it has to be a love letter. Like, it has to be extremely cheesy and romantic, and like, go full Hollywood.
Okay.
That would be my final thought.
That's good. That's good. I had written a love letter once. Didn't went that well though. Uh,
Never goes well. That's the point. I think it's like it never goes well, but it feels so good when you do it.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay.
Do you have any last words? Like, you die in 15 minutes. You will die. You will actually die.
No. Yeah.
What do you say?
I would say that if I die in 15 minutes from now, I would invite all the people to live their lives as if they would know that they are about to die. Like this memento mori mentality, like literally changed my life. And I want that from the people around me to start using it in their decision-making process. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to die. So what if that was the last person I could ever be able to flirt with? What that was the last trip I could ever take? What if that was the last experience, the last food I was gonna able to eat, the last, coffee I was able to enjoy with my friends? Like, if that was your last, you people listen to the podcast right now, if it was your last experience, your last minutes, what would you do? And I invite you to basically live your life under that term, memento mori. You're going to die. Do something about it. Do it, enjoy it, live it to the fullest. And in worst case scenario, it's better to fail than forever wondering what would have happened if. I fucking hate if. There's no if. You either win or you lose and then you win.
All right.
Yeah. So, thank you all for being on the episode number 16 with us today. Thanks for the comments, for the questions, for the contribution to this podcast, guys. We really appreciate it. If you want to share something else in the comment section, feel free. We always enjoy to reading your comments. Apart from that, make sure to follow Stratis at Instagram, which is at StratisKarad, and start reading his daily blog right now, right?
Yeah, it's kind of daily.
Yeah.
It's
the
frequent.
kind of
It's frequent. You will not get bored. I promise that. It's
I
frequent.
promise that as well. Yeah. StratisKarad.com. And the same goes for me. at Yannis_Pantelis. Yannis Pantelis on both Facebook and YouTube, but you are on YouTube either way. And yeah, guys, like we cannot express more gratitude for you being here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And as always, we'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Greece time, Athens time, or 5 p.m. London time. Till there, be happy. Write that fucking love letter. Live under the memento fucking mori. And live your life to the fullest, because either you can or cannot change. You have the power to do great things in your life.
Great.
Thank you all.
See you guys. Bye-bye.